Tanner said happy Monday too. It's weird. I all the days run together, and obviously it's Monday. I know that now. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good until the fact that you totally ignore me over the weekend.
Yes, but hey, I made it back on Monday morning. Here you are. So you're adaptable, which we appreciate that. And yes, I was so far down the data rabbit hole that it was ridiculous. It was a busy week.
Yeah, for me too.
It was actually a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I am terrible in that I will have one thing that I get obsessed with, and that will spiderweb off into like 2 or 3 other things.
Yes.
Then it becomes a quest with a bunch of side quests, and
it never stops.
Well, yeah, but if it's something that's like really, I guess at the end of the day, really interesting.
Okay.
I just tune everything else out and don't really care.
Okay.
And it's like, it's not that I'm doing that consciously, but so I say all that to say that I thought I responded Saturday. But better late than never. You did make it in.
It took you 48 hours to get back to
Yes. I should put that on my please allow 48 hours. Well, and the other thing is I have 2 lines on my phone, which is like super pretentious.
I don't take that. I don't take 48 hours to window.
But hey, like you said, you were persistent, and you were like, nobody is going to make sure that all of your T's are crossed and I's are dotted.
Yeah.
You know? And so kudos to you for saying something. And then I remembered it this morning. And it's like, oh shit. Because it was literally like, oh yeah, now's the time when Anna would be on her, and then whoops. Yes. That's on me.
Yeah.
But here we are. And how you've been busy too. What have you been up to?
So just a few things, but all real estate related. And then we picked up on the mortgage side, on the lending side.
Oh.
Yeah. But just to go back to what we just say about is that I've learned that I am not going to wait for somebody to give me permission to do anything.
Amen to that.
And that's why I know we have a schedule on Monday, and I know you are busy as well. So you skipped me last week already, and I was like, okay.
However, it wasn't that I was not loafing. I was not taking days off.
I know.
We were actually at a national convention, which was bonkers.
I know you told me just a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear more about this.
Well, and as soon as the floodgate opens for that, the content will be everywhere, and it'll be like totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yes, but technically, yes, I did skip you last week.
Yeah, you did. But again, I'm not going to wait for you to just, call me back at your convenience.
Look
and
at
that's
that.
what I learned is
Bro.
No. If you want something so badly, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
And to that, like none of it hurts my feelings, whether somebody changes their mind and doesn't want to do something, or if somebody's kind of like beating the shit out of me, like trying to get something done. Oh. It's like I appreciate both, and both are fine.
Yes,
and we all like different things.
Yeah.
That is one of the things at the end of the day. Not everybody is wired. Actually, most people are not wired like that. Most people are wired to wait for permission, or most people have the inner monologue that is telling them that they're not good enough, they're not fill in the blank enough, it's not their time, don't be this, don't be that. And it's usually learned behavior that comes from somewhere else.
Yeah.
People rarely have ever come to that conclusion on their own. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of what I do is the polar opposite, where I'm trying to get people to jump in the water. No, come on in and swim. No, I swear to God, you won't drown, or you probably won't drown.
We don't know about that, but
right.
Go ahead.
Probably not, though. Odds are you probably won't. But so it's refreshing to have somebody that is on the other side where it's like, hey, you're already in the pool. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Much better, much preferred. And I love the fact that you, like you said, okay, oh yeah, well we were doing this and it's all real estate related. Oh, and by the way, the mortgage business picked up.
Yeah.
Where it's like you got a bunch of plates spinning, which also people do business when people do business. Mm-hmm. And the idea that okay, I'm busy, you're busy.
It's the momentum.
Yes, well, and we never so busy people won't take the fact that you're busy personally.
It doesn't matter, and that's why whenever I am slacking off, I will be upfront and I say, hey, I got busy over the weekend, party a little bit, right?
Oh.
But here I am, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm too busy, because I don't care how many clients I can take on, or they really don't care how many clients I'm working with.
Right.
The only thing they care is that I get the things done for them.
Yes.
And I think that's how we should look at it with all perspectives.
And for them, they're your only client on earth.
Yeah.
And that's,
I want to make them feel that
yes, of
way.
course. Yes, that's the desired goal.
Yes.
Well, and then just like, Andrea's coming in at 1:00 and she calls me this morning. She goes, oh my God, the weekend was so crazy. Buy side clients, this listing, we got it. Everything's ready to go now and it's live and blah, blah, blah. And it was like 17 different things that happened that are all variables, that are all, live rounds. It's live fire ammunition where you never know what that's. So like the idea that I'm going to be upset for her not doing her homework for coming into the studio, like why would I care about that? You're actually doing the business that allows you to even come in and to be able to be in a place where coming to the studio and creating content to get more business is possible.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know what you were doing and if you didn't get, essentially so busy that some of the things fall by the wayside, well, none of it matters. If all you did was sit at home and plan your content calendar without doing business, nobody gives a shit about that. It's like
nobody gives a shit.
Well, yeah, you need to buy groceries.
But but the thing is, the learning is in the doing, though.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
It doesn't matter how well you have, you plan out your calendar.
100%.
But if you don't take action, none of that shit will happen.
Right. And that's why I said I can't wait to show you like what we got content wise from the AI deals that we've been going to, where for a lot of people it's the flavor of the month is the AI thing. And that's cool. That's fine. But there is actionable stuff. And so coincidentally, ironically, whatever, I use the AI to extract all of the useful stuff from the AI.
I'm going to ask you something.
Yes.
Right? Like, who doesn't use AI nowadays?
I would put that out there as define use. It's like for the vast majority of people, and it's a start, but it has replaced Google for them. Which is fine. Which also, I am not upset by the fact that Google is losing advertising money, because again, for most people, they get GPT and it's a novelty, and it's a thing where it's interesting and it's fun and it's a shortcut. Or I type it into here and they search Google for me, and it's like, okay, that's a start.
Yeah.
But over and above that.
But I think moving forward, regardless of what business you are in, and especially if you are in real estate and you are in sales, and if you don't use AI, you are 100% behind.
Oh, yeah. That would be like somebody who fought against the internet or whatever. Or even now where people fight or at the very least push back against the idea of video or any kind of digital content. And it's like, okay, you can totally do that.
Yeah.
It's still a relatively free country, and that allows you to make poor decisions, as far as your business goes.
I know, right? And something just been bothering me over the last week is that I come across a post from a realtor, and I'm not going to call out names, but
show me when we're off when we're not live.
She said that she does not.
It's a woman.
Oh shit! But that person says she doesn't believe in marketing. And can you believe that? We are in sales and you don't believe in marketing. So let me ask you something. If I'm the seller, I will ask you, what do you do to sell my home?
Right. And how many people have just come to your house, knocked on your door, and asked if you were a realtor or if you were a mortgage lender?
No.
Right.
So I want to say, okay, so how, so tell me about it. I can't get my head wrapped about the fact that she said she doesn't believe in marketing.
And so here I'm ready to take you to the next level. So what I've been doing is I had them audit your, whoops, not that one. Where'd you go?
But I say, that is just freaking crazy how people can just go online and
just
say.
Oh, that was you. Never mind.
That's me?
Yeah. So this is the AI. So now the new, so the flavor of the week and the new flavor du jour is to tack on, and Tanner and I talked about this earlier this morning,
right?
Is to tack on to the idea of everybody, like exactly what you were just saying. If you're not marketing, how does anybody know what you do, who you are, where you're at, any of the above? And then by extension, what are you going to do to sell a house?
Exactly. What do you do to sell a house?
Right.
Yeah.
And so the idea, let's take the marketing thing one step further and assume that 99% of the population that is going to mess around and monkey around with AI, they're going to put AI in between them and Google. So they're going to ask AI the question, and then it's going to be like, what does AI find? And then that's what we look at. Versus, so that's a new business model. Versus the idea of, we used to ask Google, and in the beginning, Google was just the Wild West, and it was like, oh, whatever worked organically or whatever. And then when it got to the keyword auctions, and then it became, okay, well, whoever comes in with the most money is the one who gets to the top of the page. That doesn't mean you're the best. That just means you had the biggest advertising budget, which is why Zillow was always at the top.
Yeah.
Because I said this morning, they'd back a dump truck full of money up to Google every day and buy every keyword in every zip code across the country.
Yeah.
And that's why, and it's always Zillow, Realtor.com, and here in DFW, it's HAR.
Yeah.
Which is the Houston Association of Realtors, because they got their shit wired tight. And we're working on that for the Metrotex, at Metrotex and for the Metroplex.
Right.
But the merger here will now go a large way in starting to solve that riddle.
It will.
Yes. Yeah. Because in Houston, HAR is everything. It's the association. It's the board. It's the MLS. It's the fill in the blank. And so it's one gigantic entity moving forward, where in DFW it's always been a bunch of little spider web splintered pieces.
Right.
But going back to AI driven content landscape. So this is what I've been working on. So like for you, and why I said, okay, so we got to get you doing a little bit of TikTokified content that just gets eyeballs.
Yeah.
And
attention.
Yes. So we do that, but we also blend it in with what you do, whether it be lending or whether it be real estate proper. And so here, the interesting thing is, so it goes out and does the audit. It actually finds where StudioUSA is posting you. So it finds our content online, which is one, shows you, we're going in the right direction. And then recurring collaboration. So the We Partners Network, shout out to Daniel and everybody. So this just tells us
all that,
right.
Yes.
And so this is a binary yes or no.
Look how consistent I am.
Right.
2-3 features a month.
And that is based on what we're doing here. And so now that you're live too, this automatically, boom, increases the footprint on LinkedIn and the other spots. So all of that, and we will be getting better. So one of the things that I've done and that I'm really getting into now is taking this and using it to essentially facilitate all of the descriptors and so for example, with Teresa and her show, because we're not live, we miss out on just that little algorithm boost that you get from going live. Because essentially, every platform, the minute you're live, they try to push you in front of everybody that's either friends or follows you.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so that way, because all they ever want is you to not leave the app. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. But with Teresa, because, she has more plates spinning than anybody I know, she'll come in and do 4 shows in a day.
Right.
Now I say show, but she has this sweet spot between 8 and 12 minutes of a single topic. And because she has run, a large market center for a long time and has 600 agents, she's got it down to a science.
Yeah.
So now I take those bits and pieces and I started doing AI bolstered content based on, so for example, on YouTube, it's like, sometimes the shorts do well, sometimes they don't. Thumbnail, yes. Thumbnail, no. AI thumbnail, yes. AI thumbnail, no. And so it becomes this crazy sort of, it's not exactly like a random, like Powerball, like, it's 17. It's not like that. But it's also not consistent enough to where you could visibly notice a pattern.
Right.
So now it becomes an experiment. And so this is the reason that I got into this. And so first I wanted to see like, okay, what does it actually say about you? And what does it actually see?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well then once we figure out what it sees, then you say like, okay, well that's not exactly how I want to be perceived by AI, because again, if people are replacing Google with AI, then we got to play this game.
Yeah.
So then that's what we'll start doing. And so I have Teresa over here as a control group where there's no live content, but there's tons of recorded content. So now how do I make all of that show up in a search that makes sense for somebody that says, motivation, mindset, women in business, whatever. All of a sudden, boom,
Right.
that comes up in
That comes
AI
up, yeah.
because we've now engineered everything that represents
That makes sense.
the verbiage.
Yeah.
And so, and the interesting thing is this weird chicken egg deal where it's like, okay, we're using AI to look better for AI. So then AI will find us and then by extension help us to look better.
I try to wrap my head around that, but yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's what we're doing. That's
That's
what we're doing
crazy.
for you as well.
Yeah.
And so now it's a matter of, so now, as everybody has seen, I've got you now dedicated to Mondays.
Yeah, that's Monday.
Yes. So next up is getting you dedicated to something because, like what you said, you can have all of the intentions in the world, and you can have all of the planning and the sitting around brainstorming and doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't pull the trigger and actually take action, who cares?
Who cares?
And the
Yeah.
answer is nobody. And then the other answer is you need to because nobody knows who you are, and you
Yeah.
should advertise more.
Yeah, I should advertise more. Sometimes you just have to jump in the ocean and learn from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. So now we've gotten you. Obviously, you weren't afraid of the camera to start with, and then at
No, I still was. I mean, it's like taking selfie is one thing, but being in a studio and do a recording and now doing it live is completely.
well, that's where I was going to go.
different
It was
things.
like you weren't afraid to take a selfie. So
Yeah.
but you graduated from
yeah,
still photo
yeah,
to shooting yourself doing stuff or whatever, you know,
Right.
and then coming in and the recording is it's actually a substantially different environment because you're not worried about anything and you can always have a do-over.
Yeah.
You know, so nothing gets posted if you don't want it to.
Exactly.
Versus this where it's like, I don't remember what I said 3 minutes ago, you know? So, and it just goes.
it just goes. Yeah,
But watching you in particular go from, okay, I could do this part. Okay, I'll try this. And then, the first one being like we pre-recorded and the beauty.
it's a progress.
Yes. And then the beauty of that is you were never really obsessed or freaked out too much. And then we could just make it up as we go.
Yeah.
And just have the bare framework of an idea of what we're going to talk about. And then now getting to where, okay, you can go live. Even today, you were like, oh, I'm like, yeah, let's go live, whatever. No, cool. Pull the trigger. Let's go.
Let's go.
And then we'll parse all of that. And there's a different energy.
Yeah,
when
it
it's
is.
live.
It is a different energy when it's live. Yeah.
Yes. And again, both are equally valid in their place where if you're recording in studio, so for example, like we've done the subject matter expert things like we did on Friday with the inspection guys that were here. And they had a very planned out kind of framed, like everybody knew what
that part is. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to ask this question and then you're going to answer that question.
Okay.
Then we're going to stop and then
Okay.
I'm going to frame up the next question and then boom, boom. So that was the game plan.
Right.
And so that's relatively low anxiety because you kind of already know, they're softball questions. They're not softball in like a guy in line at Kroger doesn't know the answer, but they're
Right.
softball if like that's your job, and so the idea that, okay, you get them going there. And so then maybe they'll circle back and could do it live at some point in the future.
At some point in the
But like there, it's like you said, it's a process,
Yeah.
And progress.
And
And then you
progress.
get better, you get more confident, and then you realize that like, oh, wow, I can do all of this. And then a big takeaway is a lot of times people are like, why didn't I start this earlier?
Right.
Well,
but I think it has to come down to the timing. It's like the universe give you all the sign and give you all the tests before it know that you're ready.
Yes.
So when you're ready, everything will just line up.
Bingo.
It's just like you and me.
Yes,
Right.
there you go.
A lot of things in my life now, I look back, I say, oh wow, that's the reason I have to go through all of that. So
100%.
now I actually can, confidently.
You didn't realize it was training.
No, it was. I did not
It
realize
just
it was
felt like a
training.
giant pain in the
Yeah.
ass at the time. Like, no, it turns out that was actually training me for something else.
Yeah.
Well, and so to that, it's like now you're getting to, you've kind of run the full spectrum where, and also too, kudos to you for, you've been in the learning process of going from mortgage originator to real estate agent. And while they are definitely in the same zip code and they're in the same ballpark,
Yeah.
they're not the same.
It's completely.
And
Yeah.
it's one is a component of the other too, which is interesting, which helps you, kind of fast track from the sense of, okay, being a mortgage lender for years, you understand the
numbers
transaction
side of it, yeah.
and the numbers and the
Yeah.
math. However, there are a million parts of the transaction of which the mortgage is only one.
Correct. Yeah, that
and
is
so
very,
now
that is very true.
you've literally gone from this siloed area of expertise to the 5,000 foot macro of being an agent. And it's like, you know, by and large, when I was a mortgage guy, I didn't really need to know shit about the inspection. Did it pass or did it not?
Exactly. No, that's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will make this, we will even say, that's between you and the seller. Don't tell us.
Yeah, or the appraisal.
Yeah.
Like all I care about is did it come back
It comes
high
back
or
in
low?
value, yes.
Yeah, did we make it? Is Fannie Mae going to take this? Can we do it? Versus all of the moving parts that go into everything from the realtor side. And so now that you've kind of gotten acclimated to that, now we're going to take you through the looking glass to the graduate level of the content side, because you're already adept at doing the daily thing and the workout thing and all of that and have your little niche. So now we're going to take that and we're going to essentially massage that into the next level of combining. We combine the three: mortgage, real estate, and your actual, not your personal life from the standpoint of behind the curtain, like with personal, but like what you like to do. What are your hobbies? Because the trick is there, we blend those three, and now people that are inclined to like the same stuff you like are inclined to reach out, because the idea being that you are your own brand.
Yeah, I am my own brand.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And well, for example, if you're really into classical music and, the opera or whatever, well, you don't really want to do business on a totally regular basis with like death metal or punk rockers or whatever, where there's going to be certain things that are stylistically...
There has to be a common ground.
Yes, exactly. They're stylistically opposed.
Yeah.
Where, not to say that you couldn't get along with everybody and do a transaction in certain
We're
areas.
salesperson, so we actually get along with everybody.
Right, exactly. However, there is a certain element of ease and comfort that comes from somebody that you meet because of a common interest, not just because of a transaction.
Exactly, yeah. You tend to do business with people you like.
Yes, and well, not only that, you tend to like people that like the same shit that you do.
That's true.
And so the idea is we're going to take what you already do, where you're not getting paid, i.e. the workout stuff, the travel and all of that. You take that stuff and you take that to 11. You just ramp that up, because then you slide in the business content along the way, and everybody that is in your world or that universe of whatever your personal interests are. Well, now you're not going to post a thing about doing, 45 minutes on the treadmill or whatever, and then automatically you're going to get, or it's highly unlikely that somebody will see that and be like, oh, and by the way, I need to sell my house. But
I wish it happened that way.
Right. But the idea is that you get enough people to know you for what y'all have in common.
Yes.
That ultimately, when they or somebody they know, like, and
I agree
trust,
with you, because for some people that, I saw they post on Facebook and I was like, this is not my people.
Right. Exactly. 100%. Well, yeah. And I even said something to Tanner this morning. It's like, now AI will actually find, and like, depending on how good you get at the prompts and how granular you go, it'll find out shit that you don't want people to know. Like, then there are people, I see it all the time, where somebody has a hot take on whatever fill in the blank thing that's going on. And it's like, yeah, dude, I mean, that's great. You like to argue, or you like to, like,
go at it, but that's not,
have flame wars online. But unless somebody agrees with you entirely 100% across the board, which is highly unlikely, you're gonna not attract as many flies as you would like.
No, not at all.
So that is what we're on about doing now. And so next up is I will send you the calendar of what to start creating.
All right. Let's get it. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Anything else going on? Noteworthy?
Well, like, you mean, I was supposed to be in California this weekend, the past weekend.
Okay.
But the trip got canceled the last minute, but it kind of happened for a reason, because then I got my lease executed over the weekend.
Well, all right.
So
cha-ching.
Yep.
Better use better.
But the whole thing about it's not the money, right? The money will come, but just the whole thing. See, I know.
I'm waiting. I'm still waiting.
But what is it, like 10 years to finally
Yeah,
see it
something like
coming?
that. Something like that. Thankfully, I'm
but-
lucky in that I actually like what I do.
That's true. That's
And-
very true.
And the truth is, I never really had a specific goal other than to not go out of business.
Right. So I'm the same way. I really never have a specific goals, but just, to maintain the lifestyle that I can right now
There
for
you
my
go.
daughters.
Avocado toast, anyone?
That thing's like what, $10 at the restaurant? Matcha every day. That's what they do. But anyway, it just seeing me having a process in all of that and see it coming to fruition, just exactly how I set it up for my clients. It just
Yes.
like it's such a it's so sweet to
That's
see
exactly
that.
what you said. It's like when the plan comes together.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you can get something out of the execution of the plan, because the F your feelings, stick
Yeah.
with the plan.
Yeah.
The
So-
idea that when you're in the middle and there's no guarantee that it's going to succeed or that it's going to work, that's when it's difficult. Because
yeah.
everybody comes out of the gate fast. Everybody's a sprinter. Everybody wants to haul ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is a mile run. This
But I
isn't
just-
a 40-yard dash.
Exactly, but I see how much marketing I put behind the listing, and that's why I said it just being just a. I can't believe somebody who is a realtor and saying that they don't believe in
Oh,
marketing.
yeah, now that's a reminder. Now I got to find out
Right,
who this is.
so I
Yes.
would say then that's why we have such a bad rap, is that why do seller pay us 3%
Oh, yeah.
or whatever, so that for you.
And that's a valid question.
It is a valid question, because I'm going to ask you, what do you do to sell my house other than entering into the MLS and let it sell itself?
And if you take that personally, then oh boy, you're probably not the one for the job.
No, you're not. But that's why I said, that's why we have a bad rap, because of those
Yes.
people. But I just
A few
see
bad apples.
Yeah, a few bad apples. But for me, just to see, I've done so much work. So, for example, I have a lease coming up in December, January of this year. And I have been pumping out the marketing content
There you
around
go.
it since, September, end of September. And that's the plan I have with my client, is that, if you wanted to list it out tomorrow and you waited today to do the marketing, you too late for it already. So I would just say it just blow my mind to see some people do things
Well, all
business
right.
like that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So we will get you some homework, and then let's do this again Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I will text you again on Saturday, and just don't wait until Monday.
And there's a greater than zero chance that I will answer.
yeah. Well, thank you, Rick.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good one. Yes.
Yes.